I mentioned Nathan DeFuzz is here, and are we up? We're not quite up yet?
No, just do the show.
Well, I was going to talk about him with his picture so people know him. We're on. Okay.
We are?
Nathan the Fuzz right here.
Hey, everybody.
And Nathan the Fuzz brought in today, I think they can, I don't know if they can see on the shorter camera there, Flounder. Can they see that picture? That is the original sketch of Stretchy after I post a bunch of pictures on the Facebook pages that I have. And Stretchy's got a bunch of fans all over the world, literally all over the world. And so Nathan, now tell us the story of who did this and how you came in contact with it.
Yeah, so I have a good friend who is an artist. I mean, he does art for comic books, and I mean, he's done all kind of stuff. And I had people who knew that I knew you, and they watched the videos, love Stretchy. So I asked my artist friend, and he doesn't draw horses. He draws comic strip art. And I said, hey,
cool.
can you draw me this horse? I took a couple screenshots, and he goes, oh, my God, I've never drawn a horse before.
Yeah, but that face, the stretching of his head that looked like a caricature cartoon character, that's amazing.
So he spent about 2 weeks. He told me he started over 100 times. Matter of fact, on the other side of this photo is where he's actually started drawing and then started over.
Kidding.
So his name's Brian Shepard. You can find him online, Silverbacks with an X, Silverbacks art. And he did it. And I said, you know what, that's beautiful. And I bought it. I paid for the rights for it, and just wanted to give it to you as a thank you.
And I tried to buy it back from you, and you wouldn't hear of it. So instead, you're getting my leg lamp and some little thing.
Your broken leg lamp and something else.
Which I think can be repaired. I think it's the hook or the device where the bulb goes in is bent, but I think you can rebend it or whatever. Anyway, so... okay, I have to do one thing that's not a happy thing, and then we'll have a happy thing. Can we do that? But it's important since one of my original theories of radio was, and still is, of course, radio's dead, as we know, but radio was, if you try to fake it, they're going to find out. At some point, they're just going to know. And so I've always, if someone that I'm working with on a show makes a mistake, I don't care. I mean, you just be real about it, be honest about it. Oh my God, I screwed up, and go on. I mean, I'd rather have that, and people say, oh, I do the same thing, and then you're all kind of in it together. So anyway, why the hell was I talking about that?
All right. Kemmer's already lost control. Brought to you by Atlanta Custom Closets, closetpro.net, 404-255-0589. That's Atlanta Custom Closets, closetpro.net.
Anyway, I wanted to mention something before we get into the fun stuff, as we try to do frequently here on this ridiculous podcast, is yesterday at the stable, I was speaking of the stable. Stretchy's a horse of the stable. He's a thoroughbred jumper expert. He was imported from the Netherlands, from Austria, which is why his name is Dutchy, and I call him Stretchy because he started doing the stretching movement when the first time I met him years ago. He hates men. He does not like men. If you're a guy and you try to go in his stall, he'd bolt to the back corner and put his ears back. I mean, he does not. Nobody men can ride him. There's only like one girl who can do it. Anyway, for some reason he took to me and has been demanding that I give him. I mean, it's hysterical if you know this horse, and he's very high strung and he's goofy. Anyway, So I go up every day, even though we lost Jack the Good Boy several months ago. I go up every day or almost every day now at the stable. And yesterday, when I was making my trip up, some very bad news was that the mare known as Claire, who's the mother of the girl horse Ilsa, passed away suddenly, and it was just one of those things. And the only reason I'm mentioning it is because I did mention it on Facebook because the people literally all over the world, I mean, are big fans of these horses, including Claire, who was the mare, the mama, who always used to bang her stall like crazy, made a big thing about it. And she's just a sweet horse, right across the stall from her daughter Ilsa. And yesterday, she had just passed away, and she was still there. And the reason I'm mentioning this because just to let you know how things in life go from one stage to another, and I'm going to keep it together here. Because I was there, and I've been going up later in the day so I can get a chance to see the horses outside when they have fun, and it's more video entertainment. So I've been going up later in the day, and as it turned out, just by timing, Claire the horse was still there in the aisle, covered up, but still in the aisle, and you have to move a horse using a tow line and a flatbed truck. I mean, I'm sorry, you just do, and you put like a frame of some kind underneath them, and I mean it's a whole process. But anyway, so here I was there, and I said to Jenny, I said, can I help you? And she says, yeah, we're probably going to need some help loading her onto the flatbed truck. So I immediately start going, oh my God. And right across from where Claire was her daughter Ilsa in her stall. So I'm with one hand giving treats to Ilsa because she was okay. I mean, she was behaving okay. And with the other hand, helping lift up the head to try to get. I mean, it was what an experience, and it was successful and everything's fine. And then I lost it. I just, I went to the stable and I just lost it. And one of the sweet ladies, I love these horse girls. I just love them. Came up and gave me big hugs, and it was. But again, the experience was because that's what has to happen, and it's talk about the cycle of life. And I'm going to go back up there today. And we're raising money to give her owner Samantha a bracelet with her horse hairs. I mean, it's a process like they did for me with my belt from Jack the Good Boy and everything. So anyway, just to let you know, Clara passed away, and the other good news was the other sad part was the good news was that the horse Spetter is back in the stall. He's doing fine, and the little doggy that I call the Wiggler is doing great, so everything's going to be fine. But cycle of life, and again it happened, and here I am after with Jack is still weeping every day about Jack, and I'm now helping to load onto the process of the thing and feeding her daughter carrots to try. Anyway, what a this freaking life stuff, I mean, it's just anyway. I just wanted to share with you that it happened, and it's part of life, and boom, bam. I want to before we go right back to Nathan DeFuzz, because we want to see what's going on with your life. We haven't seen you since the ball game. Since
last summer,
Rome, Georgia. Ben Huff sent his pickles. Did you? Are the pickles in the refrigerator? Flounder?
What are those?
Or did you?
They're right in front of you.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay, cool. Anyway, now he says they are not spicy, and he refused to take any money for them. So he said, now Pete is, of course, the pickle guy. He wants to, I don't know if you knew this, I don't think you were on at the time. Pete filling in for, maybe I had my heart attack? Was it a heart attack?
No, it was after that. It was
after
something
that?
else you had going on.
Probably
Some other malady.
Whatever, a malady of some kind. And Pete did the show, and he did 3 hours on pickles.
I didn't mean to. It just happened.
It just happened. I did 3 hours once on throwing up at work. Remember that?
Seriously, people just kept calling about pickles.
And so anyway, he's kind of the pickle man. But Ben does this. He makes them, and he says they are not spicy. They are not overly
They're very
spicy.
dill. Very dill.
So there you are. So anyway, thank you, Ben, and boom. Now, Fuzz, do you like pickles? Are you a pickle guy?
Yeah, I like pickles.
Help yourself. I mean, they're cold. I had them refrigerated.
I didn't mean right now, but yeah, I'll thank you very
can have
much.
one
It's
right
very
now.
You
nice
should
of
have
you.
him do it on the air. You should have him try it.
I'll definitely try one on the air.
See if he likes it.
Thank you for this, by the way. This your.
And he brought some. Grandmother made these?
Yeah, my grandmother's still alive,
Is this
Ollie
an Afghan? What do you
McCreary.
call this? An
This
Afghan or a
she
throw?
calls them lap quilts.
Lap
if you're
quilts,
sitting
yeah.
there watching TV and you got
It's
keep your
a
lap
throw.
warm.
Some people
It's a
call them
throw.
throws or whatever, yeah.
It really keeps her alive. I mean, she's 98 years old, and I don't know if you remember this. She actually was visiting Atlanta, talking about like one of those organic shows and the topics that came up. And
Yeah.
you'd mentioned, and that my grandmother was in Atlanta visiting. She's from Mount Airy, North Carolina, which is
Mount Airy.
Mayberry. It's the real Mayberry. It's
The
where
real
Andy
Mayberry,
Griffith
yeah.
is from. She and I started talking about her, and you immediately accused her of having an affair with Floyd the barber, and it became a hoot for us in our family. So she still talks about that this very day. She makes these quilts. She usually makes about 60 a year, and it gives them out as Christmas gifts. And how often do you get a handmade Christmas gift or a gift from anybody these days? And I wanted to bring one for Pete and Flounder since I brought you a picture. And so.
That's so nice. I mean,
Thank you very much.
That is so cool. That's the generation. My mother, we had a house filled with things my mother made, I mean, including needlepoint. And she used to, I think I have in my possession from my storage in Florida that I finally brought. One of her things was a famous saying, which we had on the wall going upstairs in my house for since the day I was born, I can remember it. And it said, let me live in a house by the side of the road and be a friend to man. And she had needle pointed it or whatever the hell it's called. And they did. That's what they did.
Yeah. It's a flag of Fredonia.
Red, white, and blue, baby. Anyway, now what are you doing? What's your life like? What are you doing?
Yeah, so I have worked for the police department in Cobb County for 24 years, believe it or not.
I can't believe it's been that long.
I know. So I was a young police officer, did not want to have a career in law enforcement. I wanted to work in radio. And then I found out police officers actually make more than anybody in radio, and that's hard to believe. It was true. And, but you got me started in broadcasting. So through that, I went to Kennesaw State, and they needed a broadcaster for their sports. I did 16 years with Kennesaw State and ESPN Plus and ACC Network and SEC Network calling sports games as a hobby while being a police officer. I'm a lieutenant in an investigative unit now. On a promotions list, I think I'll get promoted here to a captain's position in the next 6 months to a year and continue that until I retire. I can retire in 3.5 years. So,
and you'll be what, 45 or 50?
No, I'll be. I could retire at 52.
Wow.
Yeah, at 52. I have two beautiful daughters. One's 17 and one's 15. They'll be 17 and 15 in August. Sophie and Ava. And then I just got engaged last year to a woman that's. I think she saved my life.
I keep seeing this picture of some pretty girl. I think that's a Photoshop from the freaking Macy's catalog or something. I'm pretty sure that's a lingerie model that you pulled out of a catalog off the line of.
She's as stunning as anybody I've ever met in person. She's an attorney.
How did this happen?
Well, you know what? It's a little bit of a complicated story, but police officers sometimes need lawyers. She worked for a lawyer that helped me out with a on-duty situation, and we became friends. I ended up getting divorced not because of, you
can stick with that story. Really, I've been there. You knew her before? Wait a minute. What? No, my God.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but she's beautiful, and she was not my attorney. That would have been unethical, obviously. Yeah. But went to University of Georgia Law School. I just finished my master's at University of Georgia Law School, as a matter of fact. This summer.
Excellent.
So continuing education, I think it's very important, and I'm doing great. I love that you're back on the radio, and I love, adore Pete. I think he's phenomenal. He was actually on my podcast that I do, and I had more hits off your interview, Pete, than I've ever had on anyone. So I had 7, which was nice. But no.
Man, that's closing in on 10.
I mean, know, that's pretty good.
Double figures is damn good.
No, I had a ton of people listening and reach out, say it was a great interview. So, yeah, I'm blessed, And you used to always say you're the luckiest man alive.
Despite everything, I'm the luckiest guy I know.
And it was just a treat to be around you and Wayne and Pete at the radio station. And, you got a good thing going here.
Well, I sure wish we could go back on the actual radio on a thing. But, the freaking, everybody's scared. And plus, okay, we have to take a look at me. I mean, when you talk, I've had cancer and a heart attack, and I'm not exactly 40. So, that's why no one wants to hire me. Right. But, you guys are getting punished because we don't want Peterson. What the hell is he long, on. But still, the industry is dead. I mean, it's just gone. It's become so woke and so chicken shit that and nobody's paying money unless they're woke enough to get the sponsorships. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's just everything's changed, gone. I mean, and again, it may be the day because of our cell phones. Everything you need is in your hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who needs radio? I mean, we listen on the app on my phone, the 106.3. So, at some point, it won't be that long in the distance. Nobody's even be going into a studio. I assume pretty soon there'll be no radio, be dead. And I think of those days. And Pete, you're old enough, and Flounder, you probably are not. And I don't think the Fuzz is. Sneaking the transistor radio under the covers at night to listen to a ball game.
Yeah.
I mean, it was magic. And you hear, and a cloud of dust and a hearty hi-ho silver. I mean, just the
I'm not that old.
The spirit of it. William Conrad, the Lone, I mean, the great Gildersleeve. We don't go back that far, but still, just the magic of radio. Anyway.
I tell you the truth, I just kind of fell into it. I was never this big radio nut. I did listen to the transistor, the ball games when I was a kid. Yeah, I did do that. But it was no great. I never thought I'd be in radio. It just happened.
I was in speech class in college, and the teacher said the local radio stations was a 250-watt daytime station. So, it was nothing, basically, and shut down every dusk. And she said they're looking for somebody to do some part-time radio stuff, and she recommended me, and I said, oh, I'll go talk to him. I'd never been in a radio. I didn't give a crap about radio. I've been listening to it. And so that's how it all started. But again, I never thought about trying to be in radio. But again, it was just I mean, I remember those. Now looking back, I remember how much fun it was and exciting. And you and your girlfriend had a favorite song on the radio. I mean, it's just anyway. So it's a shame that the business is dead. Because it really, I mean, it's too bad. And maybe I don't know if it'll come back or not. I don't think it will. I think it's over. I think the change in the cell phone technology and social media is killing everything.
Yeah, and even and I got a chance to be in sports media. Behind the scenes, you have to be woke. You have to be.
Well,
that's kind of the reason I'm kind of getting out of that whole.
I think it's gotten a little better because I remember, was it a couple years ago when who was that big pie-faced snot from ESPN who was
the Pumpkinhead?
The Pumpkinhead.
Jamil Hill.
When she started going all nuts about white supremacy and racism and all this and George Floyd and all this kind of, and I said, boom, that's it for ESPN for me. I'm done listening to any of that crap. And their ratings, went in the sewer, and I think they've stopped doing it. Although I don't watch much ESPN.
Did you see what happened at the ESPYs?
No. Oh no.
They gave an award to Eileen Gu.
Oh, is she the one?
The little trader who grew up in America.
American who decided to go for China.
And took red Chinese money to go compete in the Olympics, and the ESPN gave her an award.
I don't see. That's why I still won't watch
She should be not even allowed back in the country.
Here's a woman who was trying to celebrate her mother's heritage,
Who escaped there?
of the mother who fled China to bring freedom to America. That gave this girl the opportunity to do this.
Yeah.
Jeez, I mean, it's it's like people complaining about people being allowed to speak freely. No, wait a minute. Okay, you don't get it. I mean, my God. And it's just they're so twisted. There's a couple stories going on in Dave Chappelle. How could it still be happening? Well, I want to get ahead of myself. We'll talk about it in a while here. But anyway, let's see. Anyway, so you're still in. And are you going to retire? Now, what after that?
Yeah, I got my master's degree in the study of law. So I plan on seeking out teaching jobs in colleges and universities. But even that. You look at some of the chairs; they're radical.
When I was in graduate school, I was a graduate assistant, so they gave me a class. I came back out of the Marines, so I was 3 years older than everybody else. But so they gave me a class to teach, and in my class, I had 60 kids, and I broke it up into 3 lectures I did 3 times a week. But I can't imagine trying to teach 20-year-olds. Not these days.
Yeah, no, and law school.
Jesus, you walk in with a wrong colored shirt on, and they're going to nail you.
The very first class I took at University of Georgia Law School. By the way, University of Georgia was great to me. The professors were great, but the student body, I got called a white supremacist almost every.
They found out you were a cop. I'm guessing.
Yeah, every class.
Jesus,
yep.
You pig.
Pig.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and they let it happen. And I told the professors, I said, I expect better. And most of them apologized, but they allowed it to happen. We, open dialogue and so on. Well,
Yeah, open dialogue, my ass. At some point, people need to stand up. And I've been preaching this again, and it sounds like I'm becoming an angry old man again. But at some point, you have to just stand up. And I made the point the other time when, if you're a woman who walks into a men's restroom because you identify as a male, someone needs to, confront you, and vice versa. I mean, you just don't accept, right. You don't have to go along with it. I saw something on TV the other night. It was a TV station in, I forgot where it was now. It was a 3-letter TV station, so it was either out in the West, like KOA in Denver or someplace. And they were actually giving a presentation to their staff from Human Resources on how to make sure you get people's pronouns correct. And I thought to myself, holy Christ. I mean, if someone said to me, I said, well, how are you doing? And he said, oh, it's how are they doing? I think I would probably start something. I mean, I would say, no, you're not a they. They are 2 people or more. You're not a they. You're a freaking you. And I don't spell it EWE. Maybe I will, because you're obviously a freaking sheep. You're a cowardly little lamb. And why should I mean, really just start something and make them defend themselves and get into a freaking argument about it. And maybe you'll get lucky. Try to take a poke at you. And then you can put them in a freaking hospital.
Well, having 2 teenage daughters that are in high school, when I asked my youngest daughter, and you met her at the game, I said, do you feel like you've ever had a teacher that was pro-American that supported? She said, no. Absolutely not. And that's the heart of it.
Right.
Is they're being taught to hate their country and that we're evil. And thank God. I mean, I worked hard to make sure they knew how great our country was, and they're very patriotic.
Well, and it's even the step before that is not that they don't. Not that is it not even teaching that America is a great country.
Right.
I mean, those are the two opposite ends. So, I mean, they should at least do something in the middle, you would think, But again, no Pledge of Allegiance, no. Anyway, that stuff. Well, so are you like a 5-day-a-week guy? Are you on duty all the time?
Full time. We do 410s at the department I'm in, which is nice. That's why I'm able to be here on Friday.
I think
and
4-day weeks are a great idea. Although I think a lot of marriages might, he's home another day. Oh my God.
Well, and I'll tell you, I started in law enforcement in 1998. Okay, that was generations ago. It seems.
Yeah.
We still chased. We still fought. We still, misdemeanor crimes. We chased you till the wheels fell off. And in 2000, number one, they got rid of chases.
Yeah.
It's too dangerous. Even though we had 30 years of being able to chase safely, no more chases. It's too. Then they got rid of pensions. There's not a police department around here where an officer gets hired after 2005 that has a pension they can retire on. And people don't know that.
What now?
Oh, yeah. There's no pensions anymore in law enforcement. None. Government got rid of pensions in 2005. Unless you're a union state, which we are not, there are very, very, very few pensions in law enforcement. I don't know what.
Are you? I can't believe that.
100%. I can't believe people don't know.
Who the hell would want to be a cop for $38,000 and not be able to afford your own neighborhood you live in, and then not have anything when you retire?
In the United States, there is a massive shortage in law enforcement, and it goes right back to 2005, 2007.
Yeah, the military and the army now offering $50K.
Well, now, are you ex post? Are you grandfathered in?
I was grandfathered into a pension, but when they stop
that's
paying
unbelievable.
into it, your pension goes unfunded.
There's no pensions anywhere anymore.
Right.
I mean, the government has made it where no cops, no military,
I thought
make it easy to take control.
I thought it was police and firemen and military were automatic. That you sign up for public service, and you part of the reason was you're not going to make a lot of money, but you're going to make $30,000 a year the rest of your life, or whatever it is.
It was supposed to be that way, but when they got rid of pensions,
I can't believe that. Oh, then why
so where's the money going? You got to ask, who's getting the money?
Wait a minute.
In Cobb, it's the Braves. That beautiful facility they built, and it's a gorgeous facility, and I'm nothing against the Battery, but that's a $400 million facility that's bringing in money that cops and firefighters are not seeing. And we're the ones who are, the burden goes to us to work.
You don't have a pension in the police department.
No one's got a pension. Now, there are places like Stockbridge who are starting new police departments, and Roswell actually, my understanding is Roswell's talking about bringing back a pension because they're so desperate.
I think I heard that. I saw them advertising recently.
But I'm telling you, it is a shame how they've treated law enforcement. And thank God I got in, because the first 5 years, it was literally kicking ass like Wild West. And we chased people, fought people. I mean, it was great. Now you have... I mean, that's what you got into, right? That's what you got into it to do.
Go get them. Okay, oh boy, I mean, that's...
every day you went to work, it was, I want to get into a chase. I want to get into something exciting and arrest a real bad guy. Yeah. And now I'll give all nothing against the police officers that we have today. They're just a different generation. They have a hard time communicating. Interpersonal skills have diminished because of the cell phone. And you tell these 21-year-old kids, I'm going to put a body camera on you. You're going to work 8 hours. You better videotape everything you do, and you better not make a mistake because it's on camera for everyone to watch if you do. And I think it's a travesty what's happened. And it's the politicians. It's the politicians who tear down police officers. It's just low-hanging fruit for them.
Well, in fact, we're going to talk about a few stories right here that you're going to go, I'm sure you know about it, are going to go freaking crazy about the drug guys who didn't show when they were supposed, for example. I mean, there's always a few things going on here. Let's see. By the way, you're welcome to stay for as long as you want, or if you just, I mean, if it's your day off and you got that woman waiting for you, I don't know what the hell you're doing with us, but I'm just saying, a couple of things. Speaking of one quick crime update, Pete updated this for me as I came in here to Flounders today. In New York State, the Republican candidate was at the podium giving an address to a public address, and a guy comes up to attack him, and he's carrying one of those dirty kitties, one of those stabbing cat ear keychain type things. We've had the lady who makes those on the show before years ago, and gets wrestled to the ground, and Pete tells me he's already out of jail.
Yeah, no bail.
No bail? For showing up with a stabbing attack device against a political candidate in broad daylight? And he's no bail?
New York State.
That's attempted murder.
Yep.
And by the way, they don't even call. There's no such charge as attempted murder now. It's aggravated assault. Mm-hmm. They should go back to calling it attempted murder. Aggravated assault is if I hit you in the face, it's aggravated assault, or could be aggravated assault. But it's a lot different than attempted murder. I mean, anyway. But he's out, no bail.
Yeah. It's not surprising.
There you are.
Not surprising.
I've some more cases like that, too.
What if he's crazy? Which he probably is.
Well, he's got to be.
What if he's crazy and he's going to go do it to somebody else?
Well, they gave him permission. No question about it. One quick thing here. My daughter and I both got a little thing on our phones here today. And I'll just, and here we go again. And this is, again, people my age are much more susceptible. But before I did anything, I texted my daughter because she's in it. Here, it says, "Good morning. This is second attempt to reach Jennifer Patterson," misspelled it. "I'm Adeline. I'm calling on behalf of the Document Control Services for Barnes & Associates. Your mailed information about a request for mitigation. We've received no record, and here's our reference number. We need this complaint immediately. If you can't get in, contact by so-and-so. We'll move forward with your participation." And I'm going, wait, it's the first I've heard of this. So I texted Jennifer and said, because even though her last name was an extra letter, and she said, no. And so we both just blocked it. But again, it's using my daughter. As though, and of course she has, I've been paying outstanding bills and loans from when she was a drug addict 30 years ago, whatever. So, or not quite that long. So at first I'm thinking, well, I wonder if she got in trouble and I need to do this. But again, now they're going they use your family to try to do this. Just in case you get, it happens, and they almost got me again. Let's see. A couple things, and we'll talk to some actual topics here in a second. Good news, boys. We're going the right way. I got a notice from 106.3, Extra 106.3, the radio station. We have our link there. Again, if you go to thekimmershow.net, you go to Listen Now, and you can open up whatever you want to. Podcast stuff at noon on Saturdays, or my Friday morning call-in. But I was terrible today. Sorry. Tell them I really feel bad about it. Anyway, so the good news was I got a message from, I hate myself. Anyway, as soon as I hang up, I said, crap, I was going to mention this, and this, and this, and they were going to be funny, and I didn't mention them, so I'm bad. Anyway, our podcast link to 106.3 has netted us a total for the three of us, a total of, in March, $53.24. In April, we went the wrong way in April, $49.14. In May, $80.99. And gentlemen, we have now gotten the results of the money we're making because of our link to 106.3 for the month of June is $97.37. We almost made $100 last month.
Almost.
We're going the right way. And again, if you go to thekimmershow.net, you can figure out a way to help us and send us money or whatever. In fact, I got 2 checks in the mail. I'm going to put thank you notes in the mail tonight or tomorrow. Anyway, thank you. We're going the right way. Let's see. Okay, I'll do a couple of newsy things. Freaking President Emptyhead again. He's at the podium. He tells his story. He's worse than I am. I mean, the guy's way farther down the line to dementia than I am. But he tells the same old stories. He told the story about growing up in Delaware. And it was so dirty back then. It was so dirty that when you turn on your windshield wipers, you would have oil in the windshield. It would actually rain oil. The pollution was so bad in Delaware that we'd turn on the windshield and it would rain oil. There was oil all over the windshields. That's the truth, man. That's right, Jack. And he said, that's why I have cancer. And all my kids' friends all had cancer, and I have cancer growing up in Delaware. And then he goes on to something else. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, did I hear that right? He said he had cancer? And so,
well, that's what happens when you're the senator from Dow Chemical.
Yeah, well, yeah, and the credit card companies, and so finally the staff had to come out and say, well, no. Remember, back when he was a young man, he was on the sun too long, and they took some lesions off his nose or cheek or whatever from prevent skin cancer. It was not melanoma or anything like that. So that now is in his little stories in his head that he has cancer. And then, on the same day, he comes down with the China virus, which I think is freaking hysterical. I mean, first of all, the guy's, 79, basically 80 years old. He's the president. We've just seen him in the last several days overseas, doing fist bumps with a Saudi murderer, talking to people with no mask, having staff meetings and going, I mean, all over the place with people with no masks anywhere. And he's almost 80 years old. He already has asthma. He's had brain aneurysms that had needed surgery years ago. So he's not a healthy man. I mean, he walks like he's made out of an erector set. And he's not a healthy man. And he comes down, and how could the president not be kept away from any possible fight? I mean, it's amazing to me that he got it. That they and they keep talking about the mask.
He said a year ago that you can't get it.
You can't get it, and he's been double vaxxed and double voxed or boxed or whatever, boosted, and he's still. And of course, my favorite phrase of all time when they come down with this illness is, "Thank God I was vaccinated and boosted, or it would have been a lot worse." I thought that would prevent it anyway. So now he's got the disease and cancer, and his staff is trying to, straighten all this out. And of course, he's doing fine. He's doing fine. I promise you, he is not only not going to run for president in 2024. I don't think he's going to be alive. I think he's going to be dead before the election of 2024. I'm just saying. I hope he's not. I mean, I hope he lives for 200 years.
I don't.
Well, I don't care one way or the other. I mean, to be honest, okay? But I don't wish him ill or anything else. He's the worst president in history of all presidents of any country.
He's done so much harm. I don't give a shit what happens.
Well, I mean, he needs to go, but he's not going to run again, and I'm not worried about that. But I thought that was freaking hysterical. And it says his symptoms are so-called mild. We don't know whether he's lost his ability to sniff little girls' hair from behind.
I didn't know it.
While rubbing their shoulders.
You know how at 2 p.m. is yesterday when they were going to have the update on him having COVID?
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like, he's dead.
Yeah,
he's dead.
The president died.
The Onion has a headline: COVID virus unsure how to make Biden's body any weaker.
He's taking Paxlovid, whatever the hell that is, for the symptoms or something.
We're
and
not
he's
supposed to take things like that.
Yeah, that boy, when Trump, and again, Andrea Mitchell goes on MSNBC or wherever she's working now, and she starts blasting every other president who's ever been sick to defend Joe Biden. Well, Joe Biden, this is nothing. I remember Ronald Reagan was senile, and he was so. Donald Trump had to. I mean, it's just amazing going out of their way to say all you criticism people are barking up the wrong tree. Joe Biden is the greatest president we ever had. He's healthy and fine. He's mentally sharp as a tack, and it's all these other guys we have examples of why they should never have been. I mean, it's just astounding. And the puppet girl, Regine Detrie, she checks off the boxes at the podium. The little French, now is she black and gay or just black and a tranny? Black and gay, but not a tranny. I don't know, whatever she is. Regine Detrie. And she gets up there, and Peter Ducey's trying to ask her a serious question. And my question was, oh my God, we just saw all the video of Biden with everybody, nobody wearing a mask. So does that mean every one of those people is now in quarantine for 2 weeks? They got to be.
They don't do that anymore.
Well, okay, but again, the issue is, oh my God, all those people he was just with. What now? What does that mean? Did they give it to him? What about the foreign leaders? He was fist bumping the Saudi murderer, all this kind of stuff. And when Peter Ducey tried to say, well, you're tracking where this came from or how it happened. Oh well, that's not really important. What's important now is the president is carrying out his duties of the. And we're going, whoa, wait a minute. What do you mean that's not important?
Because they know it's a game. It's been all a sham from the beginning. They know it. For most people, 99.9%, it didn't matter. In fact, I heard. This is not my original thought, although it wasn't. I didn't say it out loud, but I heard somebody mentioning today. I will bet you that when all is said and done. I'll guarantee you I've already had the virus at least once. I think I probably had it a second time. Get tested.
And I'll guarantee you, I would be willing to bet you that 95% of all Americans will have had exposure to the virus and either had no symptoms, never knew it, or had a cold or a cough for 2 days or whatever. Everybody, before you die. I mean, this is going to be here forever. I don't think it's ever going to go away. There's no vaccine. A vaccine doesn't stop it.
If this was so big and bad that the whole world had to shut down, Don't you think that every year when you got your annual exam that they would check for it?
Right.
They
Yeah.
don't.
No.
They don't. I asked my doctor, so well, they're going to check for that in the blood exam, right? And he goes, no, they don't do that. I said, well, this is supposed to be such a big deal. They don't even follow just to keep records.
Yeah.
So I asked them to do it, and they did it special. And I have the antibodies, which means at some
probably
point
had it, yeah.
I had it
Yeah.
and didn't know it.
I guarantee you, I've had it in my system. Do you still check, Flounder? You have a self?
No, I don't have those anymore. But I mean, every time I checked myself, I always tested negative. But every single person in my family has gotten it.
Really?
Well,
I
those
guarantee
tests
you
aren't
I've
very
had it.
good. The tests they've proven, they don't really catch all
But
of
there
them.
was
false positive.
Yeah, but there was twice when I had to go to the hospital to see my mom before she passed, where they gave us the real test, and I tested negative. And there was another time I went to the drive center, and I tested negative.
You went through one of those
Yeah, and I
things?
tested negative as
Would
well.
you get an exam every year, a physical?
I'm going to get one in 2 weeks, actually. So I'm gonna
ask them when they do the blood thing
Yeah.
specifically to look for that.
Yeah. Well,
Excellent.
remind me when I go. Remind me.
Excellent. All right, hold on. Did you get my notice about this the Michelle thing? Not right now. In just a second. First of all, I want to remind you of our fantastic Kimmer Show podcast sponsors. And if you want to join us as a sponsor, you can join us. Go to thekimmershow.net and get in contact with us. There's many ways to do that.
That was perfect. That's all you've got to do.
Many ways. Like our friends did at Dead Crow Defense. Ask our friend Flounder, who's just been doing some business with them himself. It's not a gun store. It's a personal arms dealer. Dead Crow Defense, and when you ask for a specific kind of ammo, you want the 9mm, and everybody says, oh man, you can't get 9mm anymore. No. Don't be afraid, because Dead Crow is not going to scoff at you when you're looking for that 308 or the 45 caliber or whatever you're looking for. They can find it no matter how hard it may be for someone else to get it. Dead Crow makes your firearm and suppressor and ammunition and gear sales as easy as pie, the old-fashioned way, painless with customer service and great products. In fact, if you're looking for a suppressor, you don't have to wait a year or something to get your approval. They'll get you in a couple of months at Dead Crow Defense. It hasn't been this easy to get a suppressor since the 30s. It's Pickle Man. You can probably get Pickles there, by God. If you ask for a Pickles, they might be able to set you up at Dead Crow Defense. Now, if they have in-stock items, by the way, which is very likely, they'll ship it the next day. Give them a call if you want. They love to answer the phone, see what's going on and what they can do for you. Here's the area, 678-576-9117, or shoot them an email. Here's their web address is deadcrowdefense.com. And if you want to get them an email to the sales department, it's sales@deadcrowdefense.com. See how that all works together? Deadcrowdefense.com. They'll talk about what you need and what they can do for you, and you'll like the answer. Make sure you tell them the Kimmer sent you, please, would you? Dead Crow Defense, your arms dealer. Yeah, that's right. And we're going back awfully quickly now, which I think is kind of exciting. Fuzz, how you doing, man? Everything all right over there?
Loving it. It's so fun seeing you back behind the mic, and it really is. It's good.
I don't know about that.
I do miss the herping and hoeing though. That was growing up. That was you'd wait for the 5 o'clock and the herping and hoeing. It was just tradition. I know, I get it, but it's you.
Anyway, well, you're very kind. There's a lot. We were talking about President Potato Head and how he's. I don't think he's going to live very long, but he's certainly not going to be presidential candidate in 2024. And now that they were talking about Hillary Rodham P. Stinky Fart Cabbage again, but the other name that's now surfaced today, big time, is Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
Michelle Obama. Also, isn't it funny when President Vijay went overseas? Gavin Newsom from California shows up with his shirt sleeves rolled up and a jacket over his shoulder at the White House. The next John Kennedy, John Kerry. The look was exactly the same, and he starts talking like this: "I'm here to make sure that you are covered for the future." So you know he's on it. So that happens, and then the other thing happens when the business about who's going to lead the party, because President Girly Parts is the freaking empty box. Michelle Obama comes out with a new book because she needs the money. She's only got $100 million, and they need the money. And she's come out with a new book on how to save America, doing it the Michelle Obama way, or some horseshit title like that, or something or other. And let's remember, Michelle Putty-Tat Obama, in my opinion, was the worst, nastiest, most vicious, hate-filled, divisive, un-American first lady ever that I've ever heard of. I've ever even heard of. And one of the reasons I feel that way is because for once in her life, she was honest about her feelings when in 2008, and you recall who was running for office in 2008, here is Michelle Puttitat on what she feels about her country.
Let me tell you something. For the first time in my adult lifetime, I'm really proud of my country. And not just because Barack has done well, but because I think people are hungry for change.
Yeah. First time in her life, she's proud of her country because her husband's about to be elected.
Yeah.
And you remember
she got that power ring.
Remember
boy.
at one of the 9/11 memorials, she looked over to her husband and said, "All for a damn flag."
Yeah.
All this for a damn flag.
Fuck her.
And he nodded his head.
Honestly, you know, I want to hit them in the face. These people. I want to attack them. I want to stop them. And you can't. I mean, you can't.
Oh, you can.
You can. I
Once.
could. That's when I might.
Well, I
you
mean,
know what?
the thing is,
You know, anything once.
if you're a liberal, you can and get away with it.
Yeah, you can stab somebody
I
and
still
get away
can't
with it.
believe that guy is out on no bail. I
That's
mean,
the
that's
whole
just,
New York State.
actually-
This is why the locusts are moving here.
I know.
And Nathan, I'm sure you've heard about this, about the two guys who were caught in California with 150,000 pills and were released without bond.
Well, now wait a minute. You're jumping ahead of me here. Now I gotta go to my story, Flounder.
My bad.
There's an order to this, damn it.
Well, shit. Now I got it right here. Here we go. Here's the story in California. These guys were massive fentanyl trackers. They got caught with 150,000 pills, which is enough to kill I don't know, million, everybody. And they were caught during a traffic stop. Jose Zendejas and Benito Madrigal,
Nice Irish kids.
19 and 25, were released on their own recognizance after they got caught with 150,000 fentanyl pills. They were supposed to go to the Central California courthouse yesterday. Oh, I can't believe they didn't show up. The county's probation department had a risk assessment submitted to the county clerk and classified the men as low risk, so they were released on their own recognizance. Their bail was first set at $1 million until they did the risk assessment and said, well, it's just two young guys at a traffic stop. You know, you got let them own recognizance. And of course, they fled, and now they're not going to show up in court. Are you kidding? I mean, this is what they do. And once again, the sheriff says this is once again the legislature in the state trying to go down some social experiment born on the back of law-abiding citizens. I go out on a limb and say these defendants have been subjected to $1 million bail that was in place if that had happened when they were arrested and they made bail based on that amount, they would have had some skin in the game, an obligation to return to court. But again, you know, they fled and they're not coming back. And they got caught dead to rights. But again, they used it was a computer algorithm which had the number of boxes checked to see whether they should be held in. I mean,
There's one box. Are they Hispanic?
Yeah.
Let 'em
and
go.
are they? I mean, it was just it's astounding. A case of a guy named Andrew Kashu, a gangbanger who was convicted of murder, and he got sentenced to I think 50 years. He was 17 years old in March of 2015 when he gunned down a guy outside of a burger joint in Palmdale, California during a robbery. So, I mean, 17 is basically, he was a gangbanger. He was an adult gangbanger. He was 17 years old. He's basically an adult. So he got arrested, he got convicted, and he got sentenced to, let's see, do I have the thing? Well, it doesn't say. I think it was 50. I believe it was 50 years. He got sentenced to 50 years. They released him after 6. Mm-hmm. He just got arrested again. He's been arrested now on 11 charges. He apparently was passed out and blocking other cars from driving in the lane. He had passed out, had a gun in the car. The deputies saw him. He came to and started a chase. So the deputies pursued the vehicle. He crashed the car, ran away. They did a foot chase. They finally caught him. He faces 11 charges, including evading arrest and possession of firearm, driving, one after another. But again, they let him out early. 50-year sentence. He got out in 6, and he's back to a life of crime.
What a shock.
Yeah, how unusual. I mean, God. Anyway, just another couple of things. One update. I forgot to mention, today is the official climate emergency day. And it's a little late to mention this because as we speak, it's the 22nd of July, podcast number 456, 22nd of July, 2022. And at 5 o'clock on this day, which of course you could be listening a year from now, 5 o'clock on this day, we are all supposed to stop for 60 seconds of silence and think to ourselves how we're supposed to help our planet. This is Climate Emergency Day.
I'm going to go fill up my tank.
Because at 5 o'clock today, the climate clock will reach the point at which the Earth can no longer control global warming.
Oh, no.
Global warming, they say, is going up at 1.8 gigafingers or whatever some scale is. Sure, yeah. And at 5 o'clock today, it means that as of 5 o'clock today, we will have less than 7 years until we can reach the point where it's reversible.
That's all bullshit.
So as of 5 o'clock today, if we don't start at 5 o'clock today, within 7 years, it's over. We can't stop the climate change from killing all of us.
20 years ago, DiCaprio put that film out that said we had 10 years. 25 years ago, Al Gore came out and said within 10 years, there's going to be fish swimming in the streets of Miami.
Remember the famous soundbite, I actually saw a fish in the streets of Miami in the highway.
Yeah, remember Shannon used that as his intro?
Yeah.
Why are they all buying seafront property and oceanfront property?
Yeah, he spent $20 million on his house at Martha's Vineyard, for God's sakes. And by the way, I think it was pretty funny when President Potato Head is saying the whole White House staff is saying, tomorrow we're going to we have an environmental emergency. It's an emergency, and we're going to announce all these plans. And then he said, well we're going to wait a little while. Say, I thought it was an emergency. These it just freaking figures. Fuzz, you'll like this little story today. Big in it again. It figures the Al Jazeera Constitution. Huge story today. Color pictures and everything. Remember the story in Indiana of the guy who was killing people with a rifle, and a young man with a concealed weapons carry permit with no military training at all, got his gun and killed the guy, shot him 8 out of 10 times or something from a distance anyway, and he was a hero. The cops called him a hero, a good Samaritan here. Remember we talked about whether a good Samaritan will kill somebody? Okay. Well, now the Al Jazeera Constitution has to make the point. Big headline in a full page story, pictures and everything. Mall hero revives debate over good guy with a gun. Study shows rare occurrence. So their whole point is more shootings, more weapons. It just, the Law Center for Preventing Gun Violence says, well, the reality is that the more people carrying guns means more contacts with people who have guns.
That's not true. Throughout history, it's been the exact opposite. Throughout history.
Yeah. I mean, how are we, this is what they're doing.
Even back in the days where we always say Dodge City, it's back Dodge City. Dodge City had, 7 people killed in the entire time?
Right, yeah. Because they knew better. Everybody had a gun. And
some of them you had to stop at the town when you came in, you gave it to the bartender or the sheriff, you left, and then when you left, you picked up your gun.
And again, I was reading some more information today on the police report about the poor gentleman. It was a coach. It was a former football player and a coach who had stopped his car. It might have been late at night. I'm trying to remember the time of day. It could have been afternoon. In fact, it might have been broad daylight afternoon. Anyway, he pulls into a gas station into the air filler for his tires. He gets out of his car. He's filling up his tires. And at that time, another car, just another civilian, came up behind him to be next in line to fill up his tires. As that had happened, a car full of 3 guys pulled up next to the original guy, got out. One of the guys got into the guy's driver's seat to try to get away, carjack his car, but he couldn't because the car pulled up behind him to be next in line. So the guy smashed into the car behind him, realized he couldn't get out, so he got out of the car he was stealing, and his other 2 guys, and they killed him. They shot him and killed him just on general principle. They got into their own car and fled. So in other words, not only did they not get the car they were looking for, or a car they were looking for, they murdered a guy for nothing.
Because they don't care.
For nothing. And the guy was just filling up his tires with air. I'll tell you, when you see me at a gas station, my gun's within an inch of my hand.
Did they catch the guys?
They caught one. Black gentleman. young black gentleman.
He's already out.
Yeah, he's probably free.
I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised either. He's probably juvenile. A lot of these crimes are happening between 14, 15, 16 years old.
If the locusts that have moved down from New York get their way and keep voting Democrat, they'll be out.
Yeah.
Well, did you hear about this story? This is Biden's America. This is our Democrat America. Remember, for the whole year of 2020 and 2021, the riots, the burnings, the lootings, the people, and now they're still doing it. They're doing it more brazenly than ever, going into stores and just taking shit and walking out. Nobody's stopping them because they don't dare. I mean, it's really freedom in America to just steal whatever you want. You're probably going to get away with it. And if you do, you'll be out on bail anyway.
Only certain people.
Well,
Yeah.
that's true.
They had a video yesterday of some guy stealing every deodorant in a CVS. Every deodorant. And there were 5 people filming and not doing anything.
I think I'd hit him in the face.
Yeah.
I think I would have grabbed him around the neck and given him one of my, you can, although you can kill a guy, and Marines teach you how to kill a guy in like a second and a half just using your hands. So if you do it the wrong way, I'd have killed him. But again, there's a way to paralyze a fellow so he's not going to be able to do much in a very short order of time. I think if I saw somebody, I'd stop him. I mean,
You'd be arrested. They'd come for you. They'd come for you.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and the business wouldn't stand behind you. You'd be liable.
Well,
for,
that's true. Yeah, they wouldn't. They won't support the clerk. If the clerk tried to stop the guy and got in a fight with him, they'd fire the clerk.
I'd tell you, one of the things we ran into was businesses calling 911 because they had shoplifters or whatever. Officers finding them out front. A car chase ensues. We get them in custody, and then they go, "Well, we don't want to prosecute. After all, you put everyone in danger." Yeah. So we've just kind of that's what Atlanta stopped. They stopped doing these reports because the businesses will not prosecute. They've gone woke.
Well, they know what's going to happen. If they do, they'll get trashed.
Did you remember? Was
Did
it?
you see what's happening in California? The guy, the San Francisco guy,
the
restaurant. You're going to say that?
No, go ahead. I got a different one.
They graffiti his restaurant every day and every night. So he goes out and cleans it, and the next night they come again and do it again. And the state of California fines him for having graffiti. But it won't stop the ones doing it.
Right?
Yeah. But if God forbid, he puts up an electrified fence or something that shocks them when they do it, then he'd be. Remember, there was a case of a guy who electrified his windows, and a burglar came in through the window and died, got electric shock and died, stuck in the window, and they sued. The guy got arrested for manslaughter. But they didn't have a lot of people stealing from the guy's shop anymore, though.
Bug zapper.
But Fuzz, did you even hear about this? In the Democrats' America, in Midvale, Utah, 27-year-old Sadat Johnson, a black man, pulls a gun at a McDonald's because he got his order wrong. Okay? He pulls a gun. So they call the cops. The cops show up. The idiot is still there. He refuses to get out of the car. The cops try to talk with him. "Please, sir, can you get out of the car?" And they try to do everything they can for several minutes. Finally, they drag him out of the car. They drag him out of the car. When they did, one cop sees a hand in the window with a gun, and the gun is fired at the cops. Nobody got hit. One of the cops who was there grabbed the hand, disabled the gun from the hand, which belonged to the man's 4-year-old son, after the father told the kid to shoot the cops. 4-year-old shot his first cop.
Video's hard
young
to
black
watch.
boy.
Yeah.
Did you see? Was it Denver where the young kid, or no, Chicago, I think, where the young kids were beating and kicking the police officers, those little black kids, and calling them, pig and MF this and MF that, and like 4, 5, 6 years old, wearing nothing but diapers or underpants, no shirts, no shoes, no socks, just underpants or diapers. 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, kicking, biting, spitting, and calling names at police.
Yeah.
And the cops are going, "Hey, kid, just trying to not hit him in the face." I mean, I honest to God, I've
just one kick to the head would have done with that. I mean, how hard would that have been?
He was right there. But again, this is what America's coming up. I want to talk about the Dave Chappelle business, and also how one of the local school boards is trying to come up with a plan now that you're not allowed to teach that America is nothing but a racist country anymore. But first, a word from one of our Kibber Show podcast sponsors, MNS Title Pawn. And I say it funny. It sounds like MNS, which is a word, but it's not really a word unless you spell it. But the name of the title pawn company is M&S Title Pawn. And they are in the lovely little town of Bremen, Georgia, 306 Laurel Street, Suite A. Open Monday through Saturday. Pay them a visit, see what they have. In fact, if you want, give them a call. They love to answer the phone if you're looking for something specific or to bring in something in particular. Here's a phone number, MNS Title Pawn, area 678-821-3337. Open Monday through Saturday, and if you want to get them on the web, this is when you spell one word, M&S Title Pawn. So it comes out Man's Title Pawn, MANDS Title.com, MANDS Title.com for M&S Title Pawn in Bremen, Georgia. Yeah, and there you are. And Flounder's back. Did you get your lunch? Did you ever get your lunch?
It's in there now.
Well, go eat and bring it in and eat. You don't have to wait.
Bring it in because we want you to open the pickles and have a pickle after you eat lunch.
Try the go. I mean, really, don't wait on. I mean, we're good. We could eat in front of us. We don't care.
I know.
What's that?
I know.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to us. It doesn't matter to you. I'm almost positive. Let's see. Dave Chappelle. My God. I mean, here we go again. I thought this was over. I thought. Here we go. Dave Chappelle had a show in Minnesota, and at the last minute, they canceled it. The reason they canceled it is because of the woke company, or at least the owners of the company are scared of the wokes. It was a show in Minnesota, and the show, there was a notice from the First Avenue company where they were going to have the show. It said, the Dave Chappelle show tonight at First Avenue. It was the night of the show they canceled it. Said has been canceled and is moving to the Varsity Theater. To staff, artists, and our community, we hear you, and we are sorry. We know we must hold ourselves to the highest standards, and we know we let you down. We are not just a black box with people in it, and we understand the First Ave is not just a room, but meaningful beyond our walls. In other words, they were afraid that they made a mistake by having Dave Chappelle scheduled to appear because Dave Chappelle is so naughty, because he doesn't do the right things for the woke people. So they apologized to the would-be audience and canceled the freaking show. Okay, some of the reaction. One of his fellow comedians, hey, wow, we believe in diverse voices, except the voices we don't agree with. Every time Dave Chappelle has a show canceled by leftist lunatics, Republicans gain votes. Another one, you're a bunch of immature children. We believe in diverse voices, just not diversity. We believe in diverse voices and the freedom of artistic expression, but in honoring that, we overlooked how fragile, humorless, and unhinged so many of you had become. We're scared now. Please leave us alone. Noah, you don't exactly deserve a ton of praise for getting yourselves into this position to begin with, but good for you. And the reason they canceled the show was because of the staff. Apparently, the supporters said the staff all called out and refused to work the venue for Dave Chappelle. Labor solidarity is undefeated. You idiots. These are the same people who strike against Starbucks on Holcomb or on Howell Mill Road because they want more money and better working conditions to serve coffee.
That's not the same thing at all. This is insanity. They're trying to get money. These guys are just insane. They're communists, is what they are.
Again, the reason, if you want better work conditions, more money in your price, that's a whole thing. This is a comedian trying to do a comedian's act,
trying to control control him. They're trying to control a black man and his freedom of speech is what they're trying to do. These woke white people are liberal white people telling a black man what he can and cannot say.
I can't. Shouldn't comedy automatically be exempt?
It has to be offensive.
Well, the funny thing is, did you hear Adam Carolla was on Fox?
Yeah, I love him lately.
And he said, he was like, the other thing is all this transgender stuff, it's comedy gold.
Yeah, right.
And that's what comedy is.
Well, I mean, it is.
So keep doing it.
My first T-shirt that we had at farmhouseprintingco.com, and you're welcome to jump in here for a second and finish that plug if you want. Well, the first one I did was not everything is a thing, and you don't have the right to never be offended.
That is correct,
It's
Kimmer.
not written down in the Constitution. You don't have the right to say, I was offended, and I have the right to never be offended. My ass.
And you can get a T-shirt that represents that thought at farmhouseprintingco.com. Custom shirts, hats, signs, promotional items, no minimum order, no setup fees. You can get one 1, you get 1,000. You can get your own photos put on Tumblrs or what else?
There
what
you
else
are.
you want? Kimber
Like
Show
my daughter.
stuff. Holy Crap at Sports. Shannon Burke. Whatever you want. Laser engraving now. FarmhousePrintingCo.com.
Let's see. Oh, one more kind of a newsy thing. And just for the record, when is the next Holy Crap at Sports with Pete Davis?
Later this
today.
afternoon.
The best podcast, best sportscast in America. Holy Crap at Sports later today. Fulton County School Board, because of the change in Georgia law and because of court decisions, the Fulton County School Board has had to go on record. So they did 6-1 to update policies concerning the new House Bill 1084, which limits how I love that they had to write this down in the newspaper in the Al Jazeera Constitution. The school board voted 6-1. Francesca Warren was the only opposition. They had to vote on a new proposal to limit how teachers talk about divisive concepts. It bars teachers from asserting that the United States is fundamentally racist, if one race, or that one race is superior to another, or that individuals should feel guilty because of their race. The law bars them from teaching that crap. And so the Fulton County School Board said, oh, all right, we got to come up with a plan to make sure we don't teach that crap in our schools. And one woman actually said, no, I think we should be teaching that crap. I mean, they're not letting it go.
What was her name again?
Her name is Francesca Warren.
Okay.
Francesca Warren, Fulton County School Board, voted against updating a policy to make sure that America's not a racist country by definition in the freaking history books. I mean, I wish I could do something to these people. You know, they just...
I think we should have every Eastern European that lived under the former Soviet bloc, or every person who escaped Soviet Union, have to talk to all these classes full of these little communists who think it's all wonderful and explain to them what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
Because they have no clue. They
I
don't
know.
read history books. They don't watch any of those old programs. They don't know. They think communism is great. We'll all live together, kumbaya, and that's not how it works. There's always a little cadre at the top with all the money and the power, and everybody else sucks.
Yeah,
And not
ask
only
Brittany
from-
Griner how she's doing.
Yeah. Well, not only from places like Russia or Eastern Europe and so on. Talk to somebody from Cuba. To go to Miami and talk to the Cuban community about how they couldn't wait to flee. I mean, anyway, it's just, but again, we're so lazy, and you know, we're raising ourselves. Children aren't being raised by parents. Children are being raised by their phones, and so where the culture goes is where the iPhone goes culturally, socially, and that's. You know, that's the flow of it all. Again, I don't think how many parents have made a point of telling their children and lecturing their children and making sure they understand this kind of thing. I'll bet it's very few. I don't think it comes up.
I was lucky when I was young. We first moved here in 1969. Our neighbor next to us were the Zalakis. They had escaped. They fought in the Polish underground against the Nazis.
Bing.
Then the Soviets came in and tried to hunt down all the Polish freedom fighters to kill them.
Yeah.
He had to escape with his family to England and then left half in England and came here. And we lived next to us.
Beautiful.
And they told Miss Betty, as we called her, told us all the things about communism that you needed to know at a young age. And we were really lucky to understand that communism is no great shakes, and it's it's worse than the Nazis in a lot of ways.
Well, I think the other problem is, and I'm even already tired of talking about this because it sounds like I'm lecturing, but clearly even in schools you're taught that communism is an economic system as opposed to a system that crushes you for anything you've ever wanted in your life. I mean, if they taught it as a system of oppression to keep the people down so you can control them, that's one thing. But if it's taught as an economic system, it's just a different way of doing things. You know, that's not going to make anybody scared to be there or appreciate America. Anyway, I'm not going to change that today. Holy Crap, a Sports Podcast. One of the headlines in the news locally here, sports was...
Hold on, real quick.
Yeah.
How was the Nutri-Grain bar?
I still have it, and because every time I go to get it, I said, no, I think I want to do this with this. So I went in.
Well, you should eat that while you tweet your first tweet.
Oh, and by the way, I forgot to ask you, what are you eating, first of all? How's your lunch? What's your lunch today?
What did I have? Teriyaki chicken.
And
with
did
vegetables.
you order this delivered?
Leftovers.
Oh, okay. And was it delivered? I mean, how much was it? Was prices going up still?
Yeah, it was like $20
for one meal.
Damn.
But I mean, it's
You got 2 meals out of it. So.
Yeah, and it's Uber.
Yeah.
That's how I justify pizzas. If I eat 3 meals out of it.
Yeah, I do that. Well, I do that with a chicken from Publix, the roasted, Mojo chicken or something. I could break that up into 3 chunks and have it 3 days.
When
with
are you
soup.
going to eat the pickle here? We need you to try the pickle.
And I forgot.
Right before we get into the show.
Okay, and I forgot to ask you, how was the meatloaf that I made the other day? Was it all right?
Ma!
It was really good, but I like your original recipe without the pork.
Really?
But I mean, it was still really good. It was really good.
You know, I think one of my problems is I'm really not tasting things the way I used to because I'm only chewing on half my mouth. Yeah.
What?
I'm telling you.
Yeah, your tongue has different
Yeah, but you're
sections
still
of it.
moving it around.
No, I'm just telling you it's true that instead of when you're enjoying a great big mouthful of food, it's you're enjoying a mouthful of food. It's like chewing wine when you get it all through all your entire mouth. When you have to chew on just half your mouth because you don't want it to get up into the things, it's just anyway.
Okay.
I'm missing half my taste buds.
Your taste buds on top of your tongue and the bottom, and your roof and the bottom are different. I get you, but they're not different from side to side.
Well, I'm just telling you. Anyway, so there you are. Well, my next meatloaf, I'll do it just for the
Who
for the
puts
hamburger.
pork in meatloaf?
Oh, a lot
You
of
know,
people.
perfect
Yeah.
good meatloaf, and then you
A lot of people.
Oh, no,
bacon
no.
around it, and you
ground
put pork
beef
in
is
it.
all you need. Ground beef and ketchup, a couple of eggs.
God,
You're
you
a
are
simple man.
such a.
Buck with a meatloaf.
When's the last time you made a meatloaf
I
from
have never
scratch?
made a meatloaf.
Oh, I can make meatloaf, by God.
I wouldn't even try.
I noticed that Kirby Smart has just been given a 10-year deal worth $112 million.
Yeah, they cut out the Athens Clark pension fund for the police.
Makes him college football's highest paid coach.
Yes, it does.
Do you think that's legit?
And look, did he get the money? Yes,
He
so
got
it's
the money.
legit.
Now, the other thing is, I've heard some discussion about whether this is the chance for University of Georgia to become the new University of Alabama.
Well, once Nick Saban retires, yes.
Well, now, see, I wanted to ask
Did
you
you
about
see
that.
SEC voted. The media days has been this week. They voted who's going to win it, and
It's
once again,
Alabama.
by far,
Yeah,
it's
still
Alabama.
Alabama.
Once again, now they're not doing as good recruiting as usual, but they're still rated number
Well,
one.
I think what's going to have to happen is that Georgia's going to have to win another one either this year or next year. I mean, soon, 2
Yeah.
out of 3 or something like that. And then the people who would go to Alabama and what's the name's getting older will start coming to. I mean, I see that happening
I
in a
agree.
couple of years if they still win, every game. We'll see. Anyway, I thought it was kind of interesting. Anything else in sports that you want to mention or talk about or whatever?
Well, the big news is Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout are in town, so that's a big
In
series.
fact, one of the great rumor questions on my Facebook page that popped up on my cell phone was whether Ohtani is trade bait to come to Atlanta.
Probably not Atlanta. I don't think
We
we
have
enough
to give
trade.
away everything and all our money.
Toronto has some. The Cardinals have enough to trade for him. So it's either going to be one of the New York
No,
teams.
he won't go to Toronto.
That's why. Well, I don't think he
No,
would either
no.
because he wants to be in America.
He could go to. I could see him in St. Louis. I mean, I think he wants
no,
to be.
he wants to be.
you
Well,
think
we're
he'd
talking
go to
about
New York?
Soto. Soto mainly to St. Louis is what I was trying to say there.
Oh,
Soto.
I got you.
They're thinking because they get. But Cardinals have the wherewithal. The Mets and the Yankees could throw enough money at him. I think if he doesn't go for the Dodgers, I think he'd want to play in New York. Shohei wants to be the big guy. And you become the big, and Soto, who reminds me of Reggie Jackson,
Yeah.
he doesn't care as long as he's going to get, but he cares a little bit because he would have
He
stayed
just
in Washington.
turned down
$40
$40 million a year or
But
whatever
that was
it was.
13. That was way too many years. Way too many years.
Yeah. Anyway, but still, I mean,
I
he
don't
turned
think
it down.
either one of them are coming to Atlanta unless they give him the.
Well, they'd have to give him the
It
farm.
would be you win this year, maybe next, and then there'll be nothing left.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll want Austin Riley
Right.
with Ozzie Albies. They'll want one of our pitchers. I mean, it'll be ugly.
Yeah, they'd want probably more than a couple. I mean, they probably want Matt from first base and
No, we
Riley
wouldn't
at
trade him
third
'cause we
and
just
take our
got
whole
him.
infield.
Yeah. And Soto is pretty soon going to be just a DH. He's a horrible fielder.
Well, they didn't. I read something. They're trying to make him more of an all-around player, but it sounds like the guy can hit. I mean, my God,
He's a great hitter.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of cool.
But Shohei, I just don't see him unless it's a rental, and that's going to cost
Oh,
too much.
we can't get him. I mean,
And he don't want to come. He wants to go to New York, I'm sure.
Well, why would if
He
I
wants
were
to
a
be king of the
baseball
world.
player?
He's Babe Ruth, and the way you become Babe Ruth is you
I
go
guess.
play in New York.
I guess. But to me, I'd be more concerned with playing conditions and how much fun you'd have playing.
When you make that much money,
Yeah, I
nothing
guess.
touches.
I guess all business, I guess. In fact, now the LIV golf tours, now more guys are defecting to that.
Charles Barkley.
Yeah.
Oh, first of all, David Faraday.
Yeah.
That was
David
shocking.
Faraday became an American citizen because he loves America so much.
But he's had a lot of weird. His son died, and then they canceled his show after 10 years.
Yeah.
And I noticed in the British Open, when he finally talked, I said, "Oh my God, I didn't know Faraday was even there."
Yeah.
And I think he's tired of NBC,
Well-
and now he wants to make a lot of money.
Well, I did, and who was it? One of the was it? Either the guy who just won the British Open or the guy who came in second. I think the guy who won the British Open. I've already the long-haired pony,
Cam
mullet
Smith.
guy, Cam Smith. I think was offered something like $110 million to go to the LIV tour just to show up, and there's no cut, and it's a 3-day tournament.
Right.
So again,
do you
I can
turn
see
that
where a
down?
pro would want to do that. I mean, if they give you $100 million just to play,
That's what Barkley said. Barkley says, "Look, we've all
that's
taken some kind of
generational
blood
money forever.
Yeah.
That's the rest of your generations to come.
Every athlete's taken blood money. You just didn't know where. Not every owner of all these teams has gotten his money through legit
Right.
means.
Yeah.
Come on.
Right. Well, look at the NBA and China. You got to be kidding me.
Right.
on
The
that
NBA
one.
sold its soul to China.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, and again, a pro, and they are blood washing or whatever they call it.
Well, okay, so if Charles signs with the LIV tour, he says he'll probably lose all those sponsorships, but it won't matter because hell, he's going to get more money anyway.
Yeah.
But now you wonder if TNT is so woke they'd fire him
Yeah.
and destroy that great show because they're so woke.
Well, God, I mean, people are just.
You know, it kills me. They say it's Saudi money. No, it's not. It's our money. It's money we've given to them for oil. We should be having ourselves here.
I know. Well, I still can't get over how the business of doing the old happy, hey buddy, how's it going? Fist bump with the Saudi murderer.
Wait a minute. This is a cunning plan to send him over there and infect the entire royal family.
My God, what a bunch of freaking
He's a
nimrods.
secret operative, Joe
Oh
Biden.
God. A couple of weird things. Has this ever happened to you? Dear Abby, when I was leaving work last Friday, I caught 2 co-workers in a passionate kiss. The elevator doors were just about closed, but I waved my hand and they opened back up. I averted my eyes before they realized I was there and jumped apart. Because I was in shock, I made some nervous small talk and we did not acknowledge the elephant in the elevator. Now, he says, my issue is they are both upper management and married to other people.
Oh, he's screwed. He's fired.
I have no plans to out them, but I'm confused about how to interact with them going forward. I work with them on a daily basis as well as attend company parties which their spouses usually attend. Any advice would be appreciated as my respect for them has plunged. 2 upper-level management married to other people kissing in the elevator, getting caught.
3 words. Extortion.
Fuzz, any thoughts?
You know what? I had a friend of mine who had something very similar happen, and he went to the person in the higher position and said, "Listen, I have no plans on saying anything, and you're cool." And he said, "Yeah, you're damn right." And he gave him a job like picking up trash for 3 days, and then
Really?
Oh yeah, it didn't
Why
work.
would he put up with that?
Yeah.
Well, it's people's livelihood because people make a salary and they don't want to lose.
Wait, you can't do. But he could have easily gone to a higher up over that person.
Yeah, they're all doing it though. And I
Okay,
don't know.
then have them fire you and sue their ass and own the company.
Well, that may have been
Yeah,
an
for
option.
turning
but
it
no
down.
one
That's
wants
what
to
I
go through
would've
that.
done.
No one wants to go through that.
Have you
I do.
ever caught anybody or been in a situation like that where it was people who shouldn't have been doing what they were doing and you knew they all knew each other?
Well, there was that famous incident. It wasn't me who caught them at GST.
Oh, Liz,
No,
the
well,
late Liz.
The late Liz.
We can talk about that because
Somebody
she was,
else called her. No, we're talking with somebody that we know. That
Oh.
but it was his wife.
Oh.
They were going at it in the production room.
Oh, in a production. Oh yeah. No, they were. Yeah. That was fine. But that was, that was not a
I've
thing.
been in the position where if someone walked in, they would have called me.
Well, I one day went at our last radio station, not the last radio station, the one that sold us out, Succulus, and I was coming down after it was later in the day than normal or something after the show, and I was coming down outside, and I came around there as you're going toward the downstairs parking garage. There's a big, couple of sets of pillars, big square columns there. And so I was coming. I left the door, and I was going to go around the columns. And as I went around the columns, there was a big boss of ours canoodling with a sales weasel.
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about.
Both of them married to other people. And I kind of smirked, and I just smirked going down the stairs and went about my business.
Should have used that in one of those meetings.
Well, it didn't. As it turned out, I should have.
Was this the touchy one who didn't like being pointed at?
No, it was the scumbag. It was the one who stabbed me. Screwed all of us. And anyway, so now here's
Moving right along.
Here's what Dear Abby said. He said, the question is, what do I do? My respect for them is gone. How do I deal with them on a daily basis? She said, this is a minefield. So tread carefully and do not say a word about what you saw to anyone.
Hey, everybody.
Your respect for those two may have diminished, but it is vital that your behavior toward them remain the same as it has always been. It may take a large dose of amnesia on your part to accomplish this, but it is what I am recommending. I mean, I don't know if they're I guess it depends on how high upper management, but
if you
still.
like 'em.
Yeah, I mean, I would think at some point, something's going to have to
If they were
giggle or hey, sorry, I didn't say anything.
I'm telling you right now, if I'd been in your position and that guy later dicked us over,
yeah, I'd have said
it right there in the fucking meeting.
I thought about it.
I'm not above that.
I really
I'm not
did.
above doing that. Sorry.
Well, honestly, I was worried about our show. When they came to us, my career was over. But you guys still have a chance to make a living. I mean, I don't, but you do. And so when that day happened, I was afraid I was gonna screw you, all three of us.
Yeah, you had more to think of.
So anyway, but.
You're a nicer man.
No. Just for the record, I did. It was this whole. This last 3 or 4 years in my life, certainly, especially at the stage where it's toward the end of it. Is the worst thing that could have happened at this stage of my life. And isn't it funny how things have turned out? We got screwed and we got back to work, and then the freaking virus hit, and then our career lasted 8 weeks, and we went back to radio. It lasted 8 weeks, Then
we decided to start a business at the beginning of a global pandemic.
That was
for
a
free.
failure from the beginning.
Yeah.
That radio station.
It had a slight chance. But when we found out about the
antenna,
the transmitter,
the transmitter.
The
problem is how long did they know about the transmitter?
Well, they knew, and they were trying to get away with it, and it didn't work, and it was a failed experiment. They were trying to make it work when they should have known it wasn't going to work.
It's funny. There was someone sent me a picture. What was the Flat Earth? What's that guy's name?
Oh, Jamie?
Yeah, I saw a mugshot. He got arrested somewhere or something.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, boy. He was doing a podcast last night. Yeah, he may still be. I don't know. A rather bizarre thing I heard in the news, and it led me to a question I have.
By the way, if the world was flat, cats would have pushed everything off of it by now.
That's right. It would have been gone. The monarch butterfly, our famous orange and black butterfly, is on the endangered list and nearly extinct. The scientists call it a devastating decline. It's down by 70% over the last 10 years in most places by the way they measure them. The monarch butterfly is the famous one you always see, the orange and black one. They winter in central Mexico and then migrate all the way north to Canada. It's the longest undertaking of a migration of any insect. And apparently because of a loss of habitat, herbicides, and pesticides and agriculture and climate, of course, everything's climate change with these people.
I see some every now and then.
Well, here's my question. What are butterflies for? Do they pollinate?
Yeah. They're pollinators.
They're like bees with their legs and stuff.
And they run the banking industry in several third world
I was going to
countries.
say.
That's what they're good for.
But I mean, do they do what's their use on the planet? Do they have? Do we care whether they're going to be extinct?
Yes,
We
because
do?
they're beautiful and it's a wonderful thing, and they pollinate all the way up and down.
I was just curious. I mean, the same way that when I saw that story about the freaking penguins, something of the penguins, and all they do is they huddle each other in the cold for months, and then the girls swim in the water to get fish, and then come back, and then they huddle in the cold again and feed their babies, and that's all they do. So what the hell good are what good are they? What do they do for the world?
They feed orcas and sharks, which feed other things.
I guess, but can you
It's a
imagine
circle
that
of
all they
life.
do is circle around their whole lives to keep warm on the ice?
You're right. Let's ban
Jesus,
them.
what? No, I'm not
Ban
saying
them.
it's bad. I'm just saying I can't believe it's much of a purpose. I mean,
Open
talk about
season.
no purpose in life. Do they believe in God? Do they have a penguin God? I mean, I don't know. I'm just asking. I'm just saying.
It was on Batman. It was Burgess Meredith. Tennessee tuxedo.
Anyway, did you get my notice about songs, Founder?
Yep.
Is it possible? What's that?
Ready to go.
Do you think you could play the first one that I had mentioned to you? As I mentioned to you, that researchers in 2005 on this day were working for an auto insurance company and had a warning for drivers who listen to music like we all do and how it can affect your driving. So Dr. Nicola Dibben did a study, research thousands of people, showing that singing while you drive can stimulate the brain, but not always in a good way. For example, this is a song that she said will make you aggressive and distracted.
Why is it not? Hold on, technical difficulties.
All right, sir.
Here we go.
Okay. It's called Firestarter by Prodigy. And I don't know, I think she may be a British researcher, but she singled that one out as a song that you listen to, you're going to get in a wreck. However, Flounder, if you go to song number 2, will lead to good driving experiences. Which I find hard to believe with this song.
This
My
won't
mouse
happen.
just died.
Uh-oh.
This won't happen when we move to the new studio.
Hey Ya by Outkast.
Love that song.
And it makes you feel good when you're driving and you pay attention to the road and you treat people with decency. I think that's wonderful.
This is one of the first songs that I heard the first time and thought, that's a great song. Because usually it takes 3 or 4 times for me
Really?
to... I heard that song the first time and I went, holy, who are these guys?
Really?
Yeah.
It never did anything for me.
That's the best song of that year.
Yeah. You got
All 3 of you are bobbing heads saying that's a great song.
yeah.
Wow. Well, of course, that's just got to be age factor. You know, I'm a Beach Boys guy. And,
I like the Beach Boys.
Diana Ross and the Supremes and Motown and stuff like that. 60s, you know, Herman's Hermits and, you know, Little Eva, you know, stuff like that. Let's see. Speaking of music. Speaking of music, on this day in 1965, Mick Jagger, Bill Wyman, and Brian Jones of the Rolling Stones were fined $7 in a London court for, quote, insulting behavior. Apparently, they had stopped at a gas station and wanted to use the restroom. 1965, but the clerk took one look at him and said, no, you're not going in there. So they went outside and peed on the wall, which led to the famous Pink Floyd album of Whizzing on the Wall.
That was the Who.
1969, Aretha Franklin had something of a temper. She got into a minor fender bender in a parking lot in Detroit. Someone called the cops because she looked like she was going to be out of control, and Aretha got nasty. The cop said something she didn't like calm down, ma'am, so she slapped him in the face. Aretha Franklin was promptly arrested, paid a $50 bond fee, and was so mad that she tore out of the parking lot and ran over a stop sign. 1979, the Tutti Frutti Man, Little Richard, is now known as the Reverend Richard Penniman, and as a minister, and he pledged to change his ways if God had let him live when he thought he was going to die in a plane crash that time. So Reverend Richard told his congregation about the evils of rock and roll, and he declared, if God can save an old homosexual like me, he can save anybody. And Little Richard was a preacher. 1996, how times have changed. The singer Donovan was forced to postpone a comeback tour in America in 1996 because he had been caught with marijuana in Britain 30 years ago. So American authorities wanted to make sure he deserved to be allowed to come into America, compared to now when drug dealers and smugglers and fentanyl dealers are allowed to come in whenever the hell they feel like it. I mean, think of what's happened in the last 30 years about just making sure people deserve to come in here. Let's see. A couple of birthdays in the news, which I'll get to after I mention to you. We just had a guy, Pete mentioned the other day, that he heard in one of our TV shows or movie guy talking about his whip. His ride. You got to get my new whip.
Right.
Well, if you want to swap your whip, we've got the place to do it. Whip, of course, is a colloquial phrase for a car. If you're looking for a different ride, maybe you want to just see what's out there. You don't want to go to a dealership, or you're not sure what's all this stuff. Find like-minded car owners like you by going to swapmywhip.com. No dealerships, no used car salesmen. You may just get yourself a fantastic deal and avoid the middleman entirely. Trading not only your car, how about a boat, jet ski, stuff like that? Swapmywhip.com. And if you use the coupon code KIMMER, you get 180 days of free premium listings. Swapmywhip.com. Check it out, and you may just have yourself a brand new ride. Kaboom, kaboom, boom.
Cindy says she loves herself some fuzz.
Oh, cool.
And then somebody else
Me
had
too.
something derogatory to say about
About being a cop and
Bring
everything.
it.
Probably. Yeah.
Well, Pete just walked over here and said it's pickle time. Is it time for me to leave? Or
Yeah, pickle time.
pickle.
There you go. Open up and enjoy. And these are dill style, is that what you said?
That's what I
And they're
think.
not spicy, so they should be. And this is Mr. Huff, is
No.
that it? Ben Huff?
And Kimmer, you're starting to sound like Howard on Better Call Saul
I trust you. You're good.
with your tooth stuff, according to Eddie.
I hate my. I hate it. I have an S thing, and a change thing once in a while. I'm sorry. I hate it. I'm miserable and I hate my life. But I'm happy, so I'll be. It's better than being dead, as far as I know.
Nostalgic
How's it,
Pod
Pickles?
Blast says you remind him of John Boy.
Oh, John Boy. He's
cool.
a firefighter.
What do you think of the pickles?
Excellent. Really good.
Outstanding.
Very tasty.
Good. Thank you.
They are a
Mr.
little
Ben
spicy.
Huff.
Got a little kick to them.
Yeah.
Well, all spices, are a little spicy.
Yeah.
But I love pickles. Don't like me anymore. I love cucumbers too. Cucumbers in a
I
salad.
was
love
reading the other day,
cucumbers.
cucumbers are one of the most healthy things you can
Yeah.
eat.
They're water.
Yeah.
In fact, if you just rub it on your skin, it's
Yeah.
good for
Well,
you.
they do cucumbers on your eyelids in girl spot
They're
places.
great, but
Yeah.
eating them does
Yeah, they
all
use them for
kinds.
other things too, I hear.
Well, that's what they tell me. That's what she said.
Okay.
Old cucumber boy.
Open up a whole new.
Yes, we did. A couple of birthdays in the news. Danny Hideous Glover, the Castro fan club president, is 76 today. Albert Brooks, the comedian, 75. Yeah, he's got a different sense of humor. I appreciate it. And wasn't his brother was Super Dave, right?
Yeah.
Osborne. Who, by the way, if you haven't seen his skits, just Google Super Dave Osborne. I mean, it's just very, very, very funny. It's not William, it's Willem Dafoe, the actor, 67. John Leguizamo, he's a nice little actor. He's 58 years old. He was in the John Wick movies. Played the car dealer guy or the fender guy.
He did a great job in the Netflix Waco movie.
Yeah, he's been in a bunch of movies. If you
He's
saw
a
his face,
screaming liberal, but he's a good actor.
Yeah, he's a good actor. John Leguizamo, 58. David Spade.
Yes.
His brother was married to designer Kate Spade. So they'd have the same last name, even though they're different. And that's kind of
They're
weird.
brother sister.
Kate Spade's his. Oh, no, it couldn't be if his brother married his sister. No, something's wrong here. You got me again, you bastard. It's getting easier and easier to make me make a fool of myself, by the way. I think that's the early sign of, something bad. That naughty little Selena Gomez. I always wondered, she's 30. Although she's the only one of that whole crew on the acting show that she does that didn't get nominated for an Emmy. with
Steve Martin
and
Martin Short?
Yeah,
really?
and she was the only one of the three. They got nominated for an Emmy and not her.
Huh.
Which I'm kind of, I'm kind of surprised. Selena Gomez is a good comedy actor.
I haven't seen them.
I haven't seen it either, but she sure went from songs to that. Anyway, remember in the Jason Bourne movies, his girlfriend Franca Potente?
Yeah.
She's 48 years old today. Louise Fletcher, Nurse Ratched from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Louise Fletcher is 88. Don Henley, one of my favorite singers, 75 today. And Emily Sawyers from the Indigo Girls is 59. I single her out because the Indigo Girls were very nice to my daughter, Jennifer, when I mentioned on the air once that she was a big fan of them, and they went out of their way. They were listening and sent her presents or something or other, as I recall. They were very nice. A couple of historical notes. 1991, they caught Jeffrey Dahmer, the cannibal killer, body parts in his freezer. Milwaukee police caught Tracy Edwards running down the street in handcuffs. He led them back to Jeffrey Dahmer's place, who almost talked his way out of it until one of the cops spotted a Polaroid picture of something really kinky. So they did some investigating and opened up his refrigerator, freezer, and found all the dead body parts, stuff like that. But he almost got away with it a second time. He did get away with it months earlier when a 14-year-old boy was chased out of the house by Dahmer. Some police caught them. Jeffrey Dahmer convinced the cops that they were just having a fight. And so the cops said, okay, but you better knock it off. The neighbors are complaining. So Dahmer took the 14-year-old boy back in his house and killed him and ate him. The cops later realized, of course, oh my God, wow, that was only a few months before the latest, and so the cops got fired. Fired. They should have been in prison.
Should they have been fired?
Oh, yeah. That's those. Those give you the bad name.
A naked 14-year-old boy running down the street, and they let him go back to the house.
How does that?
That doesn't seem realistic.
That was in 1991.
Well, either does Uvalde, honestly. I
don't get that.
Unreal.
1934, FBI agents are waiting outside the Biograph Theater in Chicago, and when John Dillinger walks out, kaboom, was Public Enemy #1.
That Johnny Depp movie is pretty good.
It's a good movie, and I love that Madeleine Gayon or whatever her name is, Cotillard.
Hey, is it true that John Dillinger's junk is in the
junk is in a pickle jar in some
Smithsonian
museum?
What?
Yeah, his dick is in a
Not in the
preserved.
Smithsonian.
It's in some museum somewhere.
The Dick Museum.
They say it's in formaldehyde somewhere.
Don't act all innocent like this is the first time.
I didn't even know who the guy was.
You didn't know who John Dillinger was?
No.
Oh my God!
I
They
guess
don't teach
he's
anything
a
in schools
gangster
these
from
days.
the 20s.
He was the gangster in the
Yeah.
20s.
He was
Him and Al Capone, man.
#1.
Machine Gun
Gun
Kelly,
Kelly,
and Pretty Boy
all those
Floyd.
guys, yeah, the
Who
whole
one of those
crew.
guys actually went to Mississippi State. He was either Pretty Boy or I think it was Machine Gun Kelly.
I think
Went to
Machine Gun
Mississippi
Kelly
State.
was a college student. 1934. Flounder's still looking up the dick of John.
It's been looking for a while.
It's false. It's false. It's
That's
false.
not
Oh, no, damn it. 1937, President FDR got all poopy pants-like in today's Democrats because the U.S. Supreme Court kept rejecting his ideas in 1937. So FDR proposed adding 5 new members to make it more liberal. And, of course, the Senate told him to stick it, just like the Democrats tried to do recently. In either 1284 or the year 1376, there's some debate about it, the Pied Piper of Hamelin became the stuff of legend in Germany. There's an actual town of Hamelin, Germany, and their whole life now is devoted to tourism. The Pied Piper supposedly led the rats out of the town in either 1284 or 1376, In return, he was supposed to get paid a handsome sum of money. The town said, we're not paying you after all. So he led 130 children with his little Pied Pipe into an area which they now have designated as the disappearance area, and that's when the kids disappeared. Now, they believe that it actually may be, this stuff of legend may be based in truth, because the plague of disease by the rats killed 130 of the children before they got rid of them or something. I don't, whatever. I mean, so there may be some truth to a rat killer also getting back at the town for not paying him. But it still may be stuff strictly of legend with a spark of truth at its beginning. In the year 1587, a second English colony is established on Roanoke Island off North Carolina.
Thriving.
But it disappeared. Nobody knows to this day what happened. It just disappeared.
They think they were carried off by some Indians.
Well, the Indians probably actually got them. In 1926, for some reason, Babe Ruth caught a baseball at Mitchell Field in New York that had been dropped from an airplane flying 250 feet overhead.
That's smart.
And he caught it. The plane was flying, and he caught a flying baseball from 250 feet above. That was our friend Babe Ruth. Anyway, that's all I got, boys. What else is happening here? Fuzz, any thoughts on what are you doing, or things in the news, or would you advise your daughter or an offspring to be a police officer?
No, not a chance. And I was thinking on the way here, if what do people need to know about law enforcement today? Number one is the pension thing I mentioned earlier. The officers need a lot of support, and they need to be funded, and they need to be respected and all that good stuff. Number two, stop telling your kids when you're waiting in line, you see a police officer, now little Johnny, if you don't behave, that officer's going to take you to jail. It happens almost every time.
People threatening their kids with
that
cop will get you.
Absolutely. It is the worst thing,
God, I think I've heard people joking about that, little children and stuff.
He's gonna take you to jail. Yeah, Cameron did it. And I usually just get down to one knee and say, I only take bad people to jail, like your parent, in fact. But
that's a good point. That's a very good point.
But look, the job is 1,000 times more difficult today than it was in '98 when I started, and we've got to get back. And thankfully, and this is my police department that I work for, is moving in the right direction. I believe they've got a lot of young leaders that are making very, very unpopular decision on the left. They want to get back to law enforcement and support the police officers. Our DA seems like he's on board. And it's not just the police department. It is the DA. It is the county commissioners or city board or whatever.
Portland or Chicago or Seattle. I mean, my God.
So, what's happening out there, I don't know. But no, I would never. Matter of fact, I do youth mentoring for people that want to do law enforcement. I'm the president of our police cadets, what they call it. And I've told my daughters I don't want them anywhere near it. I just don't want them to have any idea about.
I still can't believe there's no pension. I think if you had thought about being a cop, but you really, you didn't want to put up a lot of crap that's going on with America, but it would be worth it if you're guaranteed a salary. Yeah. And basically, unless you screw up, you're probably going to keep your job. I mean, you'd have to screw up to have them fire you as a cop. So you would have, it's like working at the post office. You got pretty much a guaranteed job. You're probably going to keep it as long as you want it. And when you retire, they give you a pension to go live in a nice little house someplace and not starve.
And you can't
how could you not have police? And what about firemen? Do you know anything about firemen?
No. Well, for our county, the no pensions at all. And that's routine everywhere.
I can't believe that.
And you can't have 65-year-old police officers.
I had no idea.
Around.
I just did. No one's getting pensions anymore, really.
Yeah.
Well, no company's giving pensions, but they used to have them at GE and everywhere else. I don't think anybody has that anymore. After 20 years, you get a pension and a watch or whatever. But that's private businesses. But I thought I thought all military and public service, government
union
jobs.
States are different. We're a right to work state.
I can't believe.
But
who the hell would be a cop for no money and you can't afford to live in your own neighborhood where you work as a cop? I've always said, every time somebody gets a car impounded and taken away from, give it to a cop. Cops should be able to have rent subsidized and cars subsidized, and every cop with a cop car should be able to take it home and park in his freaking driveway.
So I'd be searching for you, and I'd impound your car.
Seriously,
that wouldn't be abused at all.
There's always wanted to drive one of those. Well, just the bad guys, the drug dealers and shit.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Sorry, anyway. All right, what else is going on?
You don't actually wash your hands. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
They wash each other while you stand there looking at them like a creep.
I've started washing my hands a totally different way and twice since the stupid China kill virus disease.
Yeah?
I wash my hands, and then I'll rinse them off, and then I'll wash all the way up to my wrists and make sure I get my fingertips. And rinse it off too. I wash my hands twice.
Oh, since I do it and I make sure underneath my fingernails and I do it up my wrist. But now that I had the antibodies, I'm thinking, why bother now? The hell with it. Babylon B has I think it's Babylon B has a headline here. Ilhan Omar uses her one phone call from jail to call both her husband and brother.
Look, it's the same call. Yes.
When Neil Armstrong, according to Jeff, when Armstrong was pondering what his first words on the lunar surface would be, Command Module pilot Michael Collins jokingly suggested, if you had any balls, you'd say, "Oh my God, what is that thing?" Then scream and cut your mic.
Or, it really is cream cheese.
Elsa says, this is talking about the Pied Piper. In medieval times, it was customary. Where do you think the word honeymoon came from?
Honeymoon?
Honeymoon.
Honeymoon.
Why do we call it a honeymoon?
Oh, I think I know. I think
right.
Because the only time that a woman took a bath was when there was a full moon, and you could get your honey to take a bath on a full moon once a month or whatever.
Who uses honey in the bath?
Well, you could get your honey to take a bath. Hey, honey, take a bath because it's your month to
Your
take a
theory's
bath.
already shot out of the
It could
water.
be shot.
Anybody else want to take a
Yes,
gander?
for a theory. I gave you a theory. Look at what kind of an attitude is that. He wants a theory. He doesn't want a theory.
No
Flounder?
No?
He wasn't listening. Fuzz?
No, I have no
I have
idea.
It is customary for newlyweds to drink a beverage of honey, wine, and water. Okay, it's kind of like mead. The bride's parents would provide it for all the wedding feasts and enough to last the couple for a month from one moon to the next.
Ah.
So it's a honeymoon.
I'm throwing a flag on that one. I don't think that's true at all.
It's not a great
I think
story
my
anyway.
version is, hey, honey, take a bath.
Fuck
It's
both
full
of
moon.
you then.
Eat me.
With John Dillinger's. Anyway. All right, it's time for bad text theater.
Bad
here.
texting.
All right, where
Bad
are we,
text.
Flounder?
I think we are.
Let's see here.
The one with the drinking problem.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Yeah, I think you're right. So, you gonna be the first guy or the second
I'll be
guy?
the second guy. You're the one with the problem.
All right. Read an article about drinking too much. Scared the hell out of me.
So are you going to stop drinking?
No, I'm just going to not read that article again.
I'm going to stop reading.
You want to hear quick 6 conundrums about socialism in America?
6 conundrums. Now you're going to have to explain to the little people what conundrums are.
You do that.
Okay.
You got another theory about that conundrum? We'll share.
America is capitalist and greedy, yet half the population is subsidized. Half the population is subsidized, yet they think they are victims. They think they are victims, yet their representatives run the government. Their representatives run the government, yet the poor keep getting poorer. The poor keep getting poorer, yet they have things that people in other countries only dream about. They have things that people in other countries dream about, yet they want America to be more like other countries.
Yeah. Why do they come here and they want us to change to be like they were over there?
Exactly.
Speaking of victimhood, I saw the dumbest thing on Twitter today. Some guy legitimately asked the question. He goes, I've gone my whole life and never got a jury summon.
Yeah.
Is it because I have an ethnic last name?
Oh, my God.
And his name was Silva. It's like there's some guy there in the government going, we got to keep these Silvas.
Sick of these Silvas showing up for jury duty, you bastards.
Do you go through your whole life searching to be a victim that you go,
Silvas.
They do.
you got to make it up?
Well, he had a vowel at the end of his name, mister.
What the
No
hell is
jury
Silva
duty for
anyway?
you.
Italian, Romanian, Greek? What the hell is Silva?
By the way, if they would make it a little bit easier, jury duty's actually I enjoyed actual jury
I
duty.
did too.
Actually being on the jury, I thought it was great. What a great experience.
It was.
going in. I mean, the whole thing was a great, listening to the trial and watching the lawyers and what would I do? I mean, I should have asked him this. I mean, I'm going, I asked the guy that question, man, not that one. You know what I mean? It was fun. It was being a lawyer and acting out the thing and then deliberating. And I mean, it was a very rewarding experience. I would never try to avoid it. But it's a pain in the ass to go, park somewhere and you're there all day and you get $20 and you missed your job or whatever. But
I weaseled out of the last one at Fulton County because I didn't want to drive my car and park it downtown in a lot.
There you are. I mean, like I'm saying, and again, you have to park in a certain thing in order, and it's a nightmare. But the jury duty itself is very rewarding, in my opinion. Fuzz, final thought. Thanks for being here.
No,
man.
thank you. Thank you guys for everything. I listen to the show every week
and
as I'm driving around. And
he bought this sketch. He paid money for this artist's
Silverback.
Support Brian Silverback Shepherd. He is a starving artist, and he did this as a favor to me. And he got a kick out of Stretchy. So
it's a beauty.
Yeah, he's a good dude. But no, I listen. I love the show. I'm so happy. I think you're doing it right. And there's no way that the left would allow some of this content on the air. So it's great to have the outlet to listen to you guys and have like-minded people.
Fuzz, you're a great American, my friend. It's good to see you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it,
boys.
Thanks to Ben for the pickles.
Ben
good.
Huff. There you go. And any weekend plans? Any fun things or anything? Are we thinking about a ball game in the future? I saw you sent a message. Are we thinking about that or?
Next Saturday, maybe.
If we can get tickets or whatever.
It's the Gwinnett Stripers, so there's not going to be a problem getting tickets.
I have no idea. Is that true?
Yeah,
and nobody shows.
It's not a lot of people go to the games, but I'll take a game. I'll look into it.
And because we get, if we do the right thing, we'll get the ring.
Yeah.
I was mentioning out loud, I just got some secret first for us. All right, I gotta go. I gotta go. Like I was saying, I gotta go. You're killing me. Hoorah! Semper Fi. Herp. Fuzz, thanks again. Boys, herp. Look out.